Hello and welcome to another episode of Judge of Character. As always, I'm your host, Steve. Here's a little story for you. Long time ago, 20 years to be precise, in the far-off mystical era of the 1990s, a production company called Saban Entertainment created a show called Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The premise of the show was extremely simple. A group of teenagers with attitude, guided by their mentor, protect the Earth from a group of evil aliens led by Rita Repulsa. Every week, the teens would fight against a monster, the monster would grow big, and they'd fight it in their giant mechs, known as Zords. The monster would blow up, and everyone would celebrate. The show was originally created as a quick cash-in, using footage from a Japanese action series called Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger, and was only meant to last for one season. However, when the show aired, they unknowingly unleashed a beast upon the world. Before you could say it's morphin' time, there were toys, bedsheets, and all sorts of other merchandise tied into the show. Eventually this would lead to two theatrical films. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fever was all over the place. A pure epidemic. There's a lot of reasons for this. Much of it was the action. Being a martial arts show, Power Rangers brought a lot of action to a younger generation, even inspiring some kids, like myself, to take up sports like karate or taekwondo. Actually, I have every reason to believe it was the theme song. Go Go Power Rangers! You never saw that. However, I believe it was a combination of both the plots and characters. While Power Rangers was an inherently simple show, it was very capable of creating plot threads and storylines that belied that simplicity. In addition, while the characters were, for the most part, archetypes, such as the Valley Girl and the Nerd, the characters were all well-rounded, with a unique personality that brought each one of them to life. Because of these elements, the show became an overnight success, and has been going strong ever since then, celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. For 20 years, Power Rangers has been bringing countless people entertainment in the form of action and adventure, with a constantly revolving cast of characters. But despite the amount of people who have been Rangers, there's one that stands a full head and shoulders above the rest. And tonight we're going to talk about that character. Ever since his first appearance on the show, he's been considered to be one of the greatest Rangers ever, if not the greatest. He's been in the most teams, he's had the most colors, he's been in the most episodes even, if you don't count a certain comedic duo involved. And often when people are asked who their favorite Ranger is, he's usually the one mentioned. I am, of course, referring to the legendary Tommy Oliver. Over the course of the series, there have been over 100 different Rangers. Out of all of them, Tommy Oliver is the most well-known and well-loved. Ever since his first appearance, Tommy has been in 4 different Ranger teams, worn 4 different colors, has been in the most episodes as a Ranger, and has even been a mentor to a new team, before promptly joining said team as a Ranger himself. I guess what I'm trying to say is, Tommy's kinda popular. But why? How did this character make the leap from being the new guy all the way to the greatest Ranger ever? Well, that's what we're here to find out. So sit back and enjoy as we learn more about Tommy Oliver. Tommy first appeared in the 5-part episode Green with Evil, where he arrived in Angel Grove to take part in a local martial arts tournament. After fighting Jason, the Red Ranger, the others are impressed by Tommy's skill and his likable personality. Especially a certain Pink Ranger. Look at her, you can practically hear the panties fall. However, the Rangers aren't the only ones to notice him. Rita Repulsa also takes a shine to Tommy and kidnaps him, brainwashing him to serve her as the Green Ranger. His mission? To destroy the Power Rangers, allowing for Rita to take over the world.
Now, prepare to receive the 6th Power Coin and become my Green Ranger!
And he almost succeeds. And thus we have our first example of what makes Tommy a memorable character. He's a badass. I mean, at one point, not only was he able to actually take on the Power Rangers by himself, single-handedly, but he actually kicked them out of the Megazord. He carjacked the Megazord. For 5 episodes, Tommy basically opened up an entire crate of whoop-ass on the Rangers. This is significant because up until this point, they hadn't had any major challenges. I mean, it was the same routine every week. Monster shows up, they fight the monster grows, they fight the monster in their Zords and beat them, wash, rinse, and repeat. But here, the Rangers are getting their asses handed to them by one of their own. almost to the point of defeat. However, status quo is still in effect here. After 5 episodes of this, Tommy is eventually saved and brought back to the side of good, but with a price. Shortly after joining the team, Rita creates a green candle made from a special wax that, when it runs out after being lit, will take Tommy's powers away forever. And no, I don't understand how a candle can steal powers. It's magic. Ooh. The plan doesn't work, but it's a moot point anyway. After some sporadic moments and interesting ways to keep him out of the battles, Tommy finally loses his powers in Season 2 after using them to destroy Lord Zedd's plan of creating Dark Power Rangers. Tommy is thus a Ranger no more. Now there is an explanation for this, and I'll try to keep it short. Basically, since Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was originally only meant to last for 1 season, Saban only used 1 season of Super Sentai footage. However, when the show, and especially Tommy, proved to be very popular, they had to scramble to come up with new footage, going so far as to actually making their own. One part of this was the Green Ranger's Japanese counterpart. In the original, the Green Ranger was actually on borrowed time, and in order to stay alive, he had to stay in a certain room that basically wouldn't let him age. The producers of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, believing that Tommy wouldn't be a recurring character, basically used quite a bit of footage from the original. When Tommy proved to be a hit, they had to find ways to keep him from being in action, hence the few times he actually fought. But eventually, all good things must come to an end, and Tommy ended his tenure as a Ranger. Oh god, yeah, right. Yeah, if that was true, I wouldn't be talking about him, would I? Obviously wanting to keep Tommy around, the writers came up with a plotline that brought him back, using footage from a different Sentai series, Gosei Sentai Dai Ranger, specifically that of Ku, a 9-year-old Ranger. So this...
Activate the Tiger Zord! Tiger Zord, power up!
Came from this.
ついにキバレンジャーが誕生した。
よし、いいこと思いついた。キラ。やったー。ワン、ツー、丸、見え。
Ow! My childhood! So, yeah, Tommy's the White Ranger now. And hey, he's also the leader. Which boggled my mind, even as a kid. What, he gets new powers and automatically he gets to be the head honcho? How is that fair? Jason, you gonna say anything about this? Just gonna stand there, huh? Okay, Tommy's the new leader. From here, there are a few problems. Personality-wise, Tommy is something of a flat character. And before you get your torches and your pitchforks, hear me out! Honestly, think about it for a minute. Outside of his being a badass, his romance with Kimberly and later Kat, and his rivalry with Jason from the original team, what does he really offer? What kind of story arcs outside of Green with Evil can you think of that really developed his character? What faults, besides his sometimes spotty memory, did he have? Sad to say, but Tommy was a borderline Marty Stu, which is the male variant of the Mary Sue, which I discussed in the previous episode. So, if Tommy could be considered a type of Mary Sue character, then why do the vast majority of fans still consider him to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest character from the show? What makes him so memorable? Why is he so great? First off, you have to realize that Tommy is a flat character in a show featuring flat characters. Let's face it, folks, as much as we may fondly remember Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and its subsequent seasons, they weren't exactly the kind of shows that required deep thought. They were simple kids shows with simple formulas. The characters were all archetypes of one form or another. The jock, the geek,
a basket case, princess, and a criminal.
Perhaps if we go a bit further, we can figure this out. After Tommy becomes the White Ranger and the new leader, the show pretty much returns to its own version of normalcy. Monster shows up, teens kick ass, hurrah hurrah. It eventually transferred to the Zeo season. No, I don't get what Zeo means, and here we get a major gut punch to the fans. Oh. Here's the part I was dreading having to talk about. You see, when Tommy first joined the group, he was almost immediately paired with Kimberly Hart, the Pink Ranger. They would eventually end up together, and all would be well. Yeah, right. Later in the series, Kim got the chance to chase her dreams of being an Olympian gymnast, so in order to pursue her dreams, she left the team, giving her power coin to Kat, a new girl who, like Tommy, had been recently saved from being brainwashed by Rita and Zed. However, Kim and Tommy's relationship continued via long distance. That is until the Zeo episode, No Business Like Snow Business, where she sends him a Dear John letter detailing how she had found someone else in Florida and was dumping him. Bullshit! I could sit here for hours, literally hours, talking in great detail about why this is bullshit. And I may very well, I may make a standalone video talking about the subject itself, because it's such bullshit. I don't know. What I do know is that we must focus and continue. Moving on. So, what happens after Kimberly breaks up with Tommy in such a cruel manner? He starts dating Kat. Yay. Actually, there were a few interesting developments, such as Tommy finding out he has a brother, Jason coming back to become the Gold Ranger for a while, and hey, Tommy getting brainwashed. Again. Ugh. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and save myself some time here. After the events of Zeo, nothing of major note happens, apart from, the second theatrical film. The Turbo season starts, Tommy develops an interest in stock car racing, which doesn't go anywhere because about halfway through the season, him, Adam, Tanya, and Kat are all replaced with brand new Rangers. So does that end Tommy's involvement with the Power Rangers? Do I have a big budget show? We next see Tommy in the anniversary special Forever Red, which sees all of the former Red Rangers teaming up to fight against the last remnants of the Machine Empire, the main baddies from Season Zeo. They succeed, and this is where, in the show at least, Tommy begins to be referred to as the Greatest Ranger. Which is kind of funny because, unless I missed something, at no point was there any mention of anyone becoming the Greatest Ranger ever, not even Tommy. So how did he get the top spot? After that, Tommy returned full-time in Power Rangers DINO Thunder. Here, he's now Professor Oliver, with a degree in paleontology? Him. A doctor. With a degree. Okay. I've seen weirder. In DINO Thunder, Tommy, now a high school science teacher, which is still strange, is teaching them Reef Side when 3 teenagers somehow manage to break into his own command center and steal 3 Dino Gems that give them incredible powers. Tommy takes the 3 students under his wing and becomes their mentor, much like Zordon was his mentor back in the Mighty Morphin era. DINO Thunder would go on to have its own adventures and storylines, many of which actually mirror the original series, including a character who is brainwashed and fights against the Rangers before joining them. Sound familiar? This would be the final on-screen appearance of Tommy, save for a few mentions in SPD and Operation Overdrive. That is until an appearance in the upcoming Super Megaforce, which also celebrates the 20th anniversary of the series. So in the end, what makes Tommy memorable? Well, of course, there's his introduction into the series, which shows his badassery right off the bat, creating an awesome action hero for young kids like myself. Seriously, when I decided to take up karate, who do you think I was pretending to be? Well, to be honest, it was Bruce Lee, but Tommy was a close second. But still, if this is all the character has to offer us, then why do we lift him up on such a high pedestal? I've said before that in a visual media, the actor portraying a character is a very important element in how we remember that character. In the case of Tommy, it's probably the second most defining element of the character. Unlike many other actors from the series who either completely disregard their time on the show or see it as an old shame, Jason David Frank fully embraces the fame from his time in spandex. And he holds his fans in very high regard, knowing full well that it's because of them that he has any of the celebrity status he holds now. Because of this, Frank is very thankful of his fans, always making time to sign autographs or take pictures, all while communicating with them on Facebook. And maybe that's where our love for the character comes from. So basically it hinges on him being a badass and his actor being a really cool guy. That's kind of thin reasons to be featured on this show. Why am I even talking about him? Oh, what now? Hey, what's going on, man?
Killer, robot.
Run! Oh, you have got to be shitting me. Oh, come on! That's the most pathetic looking robot I've ever seen. Come on, it looks like it's made out of cardboard. Watch me knock this thing down on its ass. It's too powerful, I can't stop it. Wait, I know what I can do. Channel my inner Tommy. I got it. Alright, let's do this. Now you in for it, motherfucker. Yeah, who the man? Who the man? Not you, you're a robot. I'm the man. I'm the man. Son of a bitch! What next? A purse monster? Wait a minute. I got it. I know what makes Tommy a memorable character. When you get right down to it, Tommy is a simple character from a simple kids show. But despite being such a simplistic character, he really is a memorable character in his own right. If nothing else for being nothing more than an icon to young children everywhere. He was a great example of how people should be determined and helpful and always willing to do their best. He's also a great example of a character who seeks and attains atonement for his actions. For a guy who started off as being one of the biggest challenges the Rangers ever faced, he did pretty well for himself, turning the whole situation around to becoming the greatest Ranger ever known. And when you get right down to it, a character like Tommy, that's all you really need. As always, I'm your host Steve, reminding all of you to stay in character.